going for a walk, so apologies for the wind. But how are we doing this? Is this pretty much like my exit interview just before the whole thing ends, or what are we?
Yeah, we don't usually get to talk to, so I thought good time to start kind of doing like, kind of like an exit kind of a thing.
I got you.
So so yeah, you made day 31, final two. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling all right. I I feel like it's pretty obvious I'm about to lose here. I'm hoping it's not a clean sweep, but who freaking knows at this point? So a little disappointed in that regard, but I feel like most of the criticism is like just due to stuff that I couldn't fully control. So I'm not like too down on it, but it is just a little disappointing because, obviously no one wants to sit at the final two feeling like they've lost the game.
Why do you feel like you're gonna lose?
I mean, every time they start a question off, I kind of talked about it in my DR, but it's just like, oh, Sammy, love you so much. This has been such a great experience. Here's my question. And then it's like, at Michael, here's my question with no compliments or anything. Bad first sign. But also, just on the way out, a lot of people kind of had the sentiment of like uncertainty with my game. And I feel like they've been praising Sammy with their questions to where that would indicate that the uncertainty has not gone away.
Okay, so let's rewind a bit of, like you said, there was a few cycles there where you weren't too absent because of work and whatnot. But kind of around when do you feel like you took a more active role to the game and like how was playing the game from there onwards for you?
Yeah, so I'd say the big moment where I was like, all right, I just gotta fucking like make this happen was the veto ceremony in the week that Shinx left. I had woken up and it got used on Blaze with like no word being said to me. No one like of Aiden, Blaze, or Jordan had said anything to me. And they were all just like, oh, you're staying, don't worry about it. But there was nothing said. And I was just like, okay. Like that kind of just clearly paints that I'm just like sitting here on the bottom, kind of like just like tagging along more so than playing. So I gotta like do something if I want any chance of like competing in this game. So I think that was like the day before the draft or maybe the day of that it happened, and I was like, oh my god, dude. So I turned it up a little bit and got a lot more active in trying to just create some chaos. I had intended to win that next competition, try to split up Aiden Jordan right there, but uh, Aiden won, so then I had to cut Blaze, and then I had to, you know, operate how I did in the rest of the game with the circumstances given to me based on comp results. But that was probably the moment that I was able to kind of take a more active role in the game, and I wish I would have had more time in the game to do that. But yeah, just kind of unfortunate how things played out. I also just like completely forgot how quick orgs are. So I thought I would be done with the draft like as jury was getting started.
Hmm. Well, BBD, we move quickly over here.
Yeah.
Um, so with the final five, a sentiment in your diary room was, it's really important that I need to go to the end with Crow. Um, so I'm more about like this vote for you and like why it panned out how it did.
Which vote? Like the final
The
five
final
vote?
five vote where Crow goes home.
Yeah. So I had I'd spoken to Crow and I was just telling him like, hey, I know we've been like quote unquote enemies in this game, whatever, but I think it's important that for both of our sake, we have a chance to go against one another. If I like campaign for you, even if it's like just to give you a sympathy vote, it's gonna throw the whole thing off. Like everyone's gonna be like, what the hell is this? So I told him that he had to go to Aiden and try to guilt him, try to get, uh, just like bargain, I guess, for his vote, and try to work with him in a way to where if Aiden were willing to give him a vote here, he would give him a vote at the final two, and make that type of negotiation with some guilt tripping and some maybe like some sobbing along the way, trying to make him feel bad. I don't know how effective it was because he came back like 2 minutes later, so I don't know if the execution didn't go according to plan or what, or if he just rushed it, but um, did not work. And once I knew that there was just nothing going on there for the vote, uh, me voting for Crow just kind of felt pointless. If there was anything that would have potentially like had Aiden giving him a sympathy vote, then I definitely would have voted out Sammy and tried to work to the end with Crow. And I know that they probably would have just like been aware that I screwed them over or whatever, or been involved in screwing them over. But at that point, it was just sprint to the finish. So I just had to do what I had to do. But unfortunately, it didn't work out, and I feel like that's kind of where the ship sank.
Okay, so with Crow leaving, what became in your head? What was your next kind of optimal move of like this is gonna be my path towards the win?
I felt like if I wanted a chance, in my head, it was I had to be the person to kind of get rid of the duo of Aiden and Jordan, and then hope that with my like direct influence of like eliminating or that pair, it would give me enough of an edge in like the main grip on the game to win over Sammy. Um, so yeah, that was kind of my mindset. I won Final Four HOH, and I didn't want to do the whole like, oh, noms don't even matter at this stage. I felt like I don't know. It's a game where people feel like playing straight up is usually more respected. I think if you're able to execute with your straight upness. So I wanted to be like straight up about the fact that like, hey, I know Final Four doesn't really matter for nominations, but I just am putting you two up because I need one of you gone from this game. And I hope that maybe that would give me like a little bit of points, and then just hoped that I was the one that had won veto and the final HOH. And I know I got like third in veto, but I do think I would have won if Sammy wasn't there. But obviously, like that doesn't really mean much if Sammy did win it. So whatever.
Fair enough. So Jordan goes home. Going into the final three, I'm curious, had you had won the final head of household, what were you planning to do?
Yeah, I would have cut Aiden. I did have a little bit of question about Aiden, just his overall like uh, self interest in the game, but that was more like a question for me if I were to be voting, more so than thinking that it would like give me a chance against him at all. Like I kind of talked to Blaze on his way out in our one on ones, and he was just kind of spilling everything because he's kind of wanted to vent about the game, and he made it clear that like I had a chance against Crow. I had like a very small chance against Sammy, and I absolutely lose to Jordan Aiden. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna make sure that like Jordan and Aiden aren't there. Ideally, it was Crow. Didn't happen to be Crow. So then at that point, I was just hoping it was Sammy, and that if I was the one that was in control of making that happen, that I had a decent case.
Okay, so how would you have estimated Dre vote against Aiden to go? Like, who do you think would have voted for who?
Sorry, if like it was me versus Aiden in the final two or what?
Yes.
Uh, probably 7-0. I don't know. Maybe Ryan would have given me a sympathy vote or something. I don't know. I don't really feel like Ryan's the type to be like our friend, so I'll vote for him. But maybe that's like the best case scenario. But I would have definitely gotten my ass kicked. Probably will get my ass kicked here, but uh, maybe there's a little bit more hope that like Mira will vote for me as well.
Okay, so what would be your predictions for this vote then against Sammy?
I don't know. Ryan is a lot closer to Sammy than he is a lot of people on the cast, so that kind of makes it to where he probably doesn't feel like as much guilt, I guess, to vote for me. I don't think he would have felt guilty regardless, but I doubt it leads to him voting for me. So probably like 6-1, and I get Mira, but who knows? Maybe I can pull off 5-2.
Very interesting. Having read through the speeches and all that, I'm curious, like, do you feel like how would I word this? Do you feel like you played a better game than Sammy?
I don't know that I played a better game, but I think a large part of why my game is worse is just because of like outside circumstances. And I'm not trying to like make that excuse for myself. Like I understand that part of that's just like something I agreed to beforehand and knew it was going to be an issue. But I think my only like reason, and this isn't even necessarily like true, it's just like if I were to try to sell myself on like why I deserve to win over Sammy, it's just because like the middle game is something that I feel like gets constantly done on Discord, and it's like so easy to do on Discord because it's just like there's no like house dynamic on the real show that like exists here. So being able to just like message people one on one and be like, "Oh, I'm with you," and then just like not really like ever have to come into any like decisions or like have to spend your time in a house like with people, like that's so much easier to navigate on a mobile device where there's no like uh, isolated structure that everyone has to like participate in. And that's not a diss to Sammy. It's just like a common theme of Discord orgs where people are like, "Oh, I played the middle," and it's very repetitive and overdone to where I feel like I don't know, like the appeal of the game as like a winning case should be more watered down than it is.
Okay, so I'm curious with questionings and whatnot. Did you ever consider taking an approach of trying to more so discredit Sammy's game, or do you just kind of wanted to keep it to yourself?
I tried a little bit. I didn't want to like get into like insults just because I know the jury perception of me is like probably pretty low in terms of like how they view my game. So I feel like they would have chimed in on the insults and gone against me and probably would have just went worse. So I just tried to oversell my game and lie a little bit on some of my mistakes to make it seem more intentional and then just see what happens. I just felt like I don't know when you're insulting like someone else at the finale, you have to like be very confident that it's going to go over well. And right now, with how I assume my game is perceived, I don't think insulting would have been in my best interest.
Fair enough. So, I'm curious if, for whatever reason, you had left third and the final two was Aiden against Sammy, who do you think you would have voted for and why?
Um, I would have had to ask Aiden about just some self interest stuff in the game because like I told him in one on ones, I was like, hey, you know, like when it comes down to it, if it's like you versus Jordan, I have your back, and I just want you to know that. And like he told Jordan that, and I understand that like Jordan's his number one. I never had any doubts about that, but it seems weird to like sell out information that is like only beneficial to you. You know, in that situation, like what does Jordan gain from that other than just like I don't know, you're kind of just telling him more information, but Jordan already trusts you 100% and it's information that benefits you and benefits having like me in the game for yourself. So it just seems weird to share some of that info. So I would have wanted to know a little bit more about that and kind of wanted to know like what he did on his own to establish himself as like an individual case for winning more so than the dominance of Aiden and Jordan together. And I would have wanted the same out of Jordan, but if I would have heard like a good case for why Aiden like controlled the game, then I probably would have voted Aiden.
Right, fair enough. Um, so, obviously this was your third outing. You did the best among all of the tutors. And I'm curious, kind of how would you rank your experiences?
I had a lot of fun. It was a good time. I for a third time player, I read pretty poorly, so that was a little embarrassing to probably lose like what 3 competitions because I couldn't read. That's rough, but whatever. In the past now. Other than that, though, I mean, BBD is really fun. It's one of the better produced orgs that I've ever played. Probably the best. I don't know why I'm saying better, but best produced org I've played, and I have a lot of fun playing it. I talked about it in my speech that I know wasn't as active as I would have liked, but it was one of the only chances that I was going to have to return for a season for a while, or at least that's what I was told. So I didn't want to waste it, even though probably wasn't the most available circumstances.
Okay. Um, Speaking of competitions, what would you say was your favorite one to play?
I don't know. I usually always enjoy the bartender one the most, and I didn't get to participate in that one this time, so a little disappointed in that. But trying to think of which one was my favorite. Hmm. Let me take a look at this chart, see what stands out. The escape room was pretty cool. I liked that. I lost and I was annoyed about it, but it's fun, I
Please
suppose.
say it, say it. Okay. So, if you were to be kind of the runner up here, what what would you look back and feel like this is where my game went wrong, or do you feel like you would stand by your game right now?
Um, I don't know, because I feel like the execution of my game plan wasn't like wrong. It happens all the time where like someone loses a key ally and they have to like reposition themselves in the game. But obviously, missing like not missing, but like being very uninvolved from like cycle 5 to cycle what like 7. I mean, it was 3 cycles, but it was just like a double in there as well. So like being pretty inactive for like 4 evictions straight is pretty tough to overcome, and I think that's a big part of what I would have tried to change. And then just having more time prior to that, where I was able to socialize and just kind of I don't know play like Jackbox with people and stuff, and just further integrate myself and establish trust. Probably would have been nice, but I don't know. I'm sure there's more to my actual game that I've messed up on, so I don't want to just be like, oh, it's only because I wasn't here that I didn't win. But um, I think that did have a hefty contribution to why I'm losing right here at the final 2. But for the actual game, I mean, I think I also just overestimated my ability to split people. Like Blaze was pretty adamant that like Aiden wasn't targeting him for a while, so that was something that like we kind of misfired on when trying to split the sides. Sammy was obviously like a lot more invested in her alliances with like all these other people. So I mean, maybe like not more invested than me and Ryan. I'm not sure, but had like other alliances that she's probably like equally invested to. whereas I kind of thought that maybe we were closer. So there's aspects of that like even if I was active, I still would have had to overcome. So it's hard to say how it would have played out. And I'm sure part of it is like I was safe just because I was like viewed as such a non-threat. So I don't know. It's hard to say what the real play out would have been if I were able to be here. But um, the big takeaway is just hopefully I can be fully available if I ever do another one of these things.
And on the contrary, what would it mean to you to be the winner of BBD13?
It'd be sick. I would feel pretty accomplished in flipping my placement from 20th to first. That's for sure. Uh, Going from pawning myself and being out of the house before Kiki in season 10 to winning season 13 would be quite the honor. Uh, I don't know. It's obviously an org that I really like love and it means a lot to me. So it'd be great to be one of the representative winners. So I'd be pretty happy with it.
Period. Regarding, only Miss Celeste can say they've made a finale night twice.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. That's for sure.
Period. What is it, who do you think is going to be the winner of Discord's favorite player?
I think Blaze is probably my prediction. That's I don't know. He seems like to care most about just like doing the grunt work in the DR and everything. So I'm sure he was just like active there regardless. Um, Aiden had the pretty decorative bingo card, so maybe he had some cool stuff going on in his DR. But my prediction is Blaze right now. I think.
Fair enough. And what would you say was your favorite moment this season?
I would say I don't know. That's a tough one. Personally, you know, with like just my self interest, I'd say my favorite moment was just like winning hide and go veto, but without like my self bias going into it, probably like the split of me and Ryan was a pretty exciting vote as we went into the double and everything. So that's pretty exciting.
Right, period. Well, Michael, we enjoy having you on the season. Thank you for coming back. And I hope
Yeah,
you did
thanks for
enjoy
having
and
me.
have fun time.
Yeah, I still had a
Mm,
great time. Sorry that I couldn't be more active.
please, it's all good. Any word for your fans?
If I have many fans, thank you, and I appreciate all the help. I'll be on Cameo after the season, so feel free to be checking for that and have your money ready. That's all.
Again, Michael.